It's not boring. You're boring. Sit there and smile.
But there's no action. I want to see Vin Diesel.
You signed up for Francis, not Vin Diesel. YUNKJunk! Hey, everybody. Welcome to What Is This Podcast? The show where we try and figure out what this podcast is, and we come with cool pitches for what the show could be. And just three of us tonight because somebody decided to get a job, which means he's out of the band. It's over.
My cat.
He's gotta go.
My cat, Oscar. He's not in it today. He's got a job. He's actually a bar back at a bar, at a restaurant, and they treat him like shit. But that's good. You know, he needs some real life experience and some, gain some street smarts and some, he's got to toughen up.
I immediately thought of a bar called like Cat Daddy. Like he works at Cat Daddy, and it's where the cool cats go.
No, he's in the one next door. It's like SpongeBob and Weenie Hut Juniors. There's like the cool. Do you remember that? There's like the cool bar that he's trying to get into, or the club or whatever.
SpongeBob's trying to get into a bar.
Yeah, and the bouncer's like, "How tough are you?" What?
He's like, "Damn it, Patrick! I just need a
Pete
drink."
Is calling me.
Who is?
Answer it.
How's Pete?
Pete's calling.
Wait, hang on.
I gotta take my socks off. I'm hot.
Hey, what's up?
Did he mute it?
I hope this is a reverse Pete.
He's going. Pete's going. Listen,
No,
I don't know.
I could, if you want to say hi, yeah. Oh, okay.
On the road.
Okay.
All right, well, call me back when you're done with your podcast.
All
Hey,
right.
Dad.
How are you, by the way?
I'm good.
Yeah, okay. I'm good. I'll call you back.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Damn, you missed the good part. I should have had it on speaker.
What did he say?
He had a bit of road rage and he called somebody a cunt.
Oh my God.
You fucking cunt.
He likes that word.
I think that was almost like a reverse Where's Pete, where he calls in and pulls the move on us.
At 5:40.
He's privy to our tricks at this point.
He knows. He knows
our ways.
But you know what? I gotta say, it's a much more sentimental, like, how's Pete when it's from you versus when it's from Luke. It's very like direct and part of the bit. You can always see a glimmer of like, Daddy, when you answer the phone.
You're like, I'll call you back.
Yeah, I muted it for a second because I was worried how the conversation was gonna go.
Yeah, I know. I saw that. I was gonna try to do an impression. I was gonna try to figure out what you were saying and what he was saying, but then you unmuted it. So
yeah, I don't know. I don't know why he called. We'll find out after the podcast, I guess.
We'll find out next time on What Is This Podcast? What did Pete want? I mean, that's the missing pitch, right? Of just like,
that could be a good one.
I mean, that is a
what
pitch
does Pete
of like,
actually want? He's calling me.
What the?
He's calling
he's
me.
pulling a move.
Is he really?
Yeah, he's doing this on purpose. Let's see.
Okay, good.
I'm gonna put it on speaker. He won't be able to hear you guys, but what's up, Pop?
Hey, Luke, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, all right, see you.
See ya.
He did it. The
He
reverse
knows.
Pete.
All right.
He actually did it.
So what? That's awesome. Oh my God. The reverse Pete happened. So what do you think that was? Do you think he called Cole to see if we were doing the podcast and then hit Luke with the reverse Pete?
No, he and I, no, I wish that was it. He and I talked for a while last night about other stuff. So he was probably calling to just check in or keep
Talk about me. Making sure Luke's okay. Luke.
Making
I
sure
don't know about Luke, man.
Making sure Luke doesn't know where the next family gathering will be.
Yeah. Yep. Keep him out of Christmas. he's like, how can we find a way to get his daughter and his cat to come and hang out, but not him?
They say keep Christ in Christmas, but Dad says keep Luke out of Christmas.
Well, I mean, that makes sense. Luke isn't traditionally in Christmas. Like, are you talking Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John? Is this the Bible hour? Bible pitch. We go through the entire Bible and we make up a story about each of the apostles.
Okay.
Or maybe we like make a story as if we were an apostle and what we would have done if we were an apostle back in the day.
There's a movie coming out soon that's like similar to that.
What?
Like the book of
Eli?
Shit.
That was with Denzel Washington. You remember that? He was blind.
Yeah, it's called The Book of Eli. It's about a blind guy.
Yeah.
It's coming out soon.
And he meets Mila Kunis.
No, it's the actor, the guy that's from Atlanta.
Donald Glover?
Nope. Lakeith Stanfield.
Lakeith Stanfield, yeah. He's not one of the apostles, but he's like a rival of Jesus. And he just like...
Is it a comedy?
I guess it's kind of, it seems like, it looks like it's going to be a comedy. But
sounds like it.
If I was one of the apostles, I'd probably try to hook up with Mary.
Magdalene?
Yeah, you would. You wouldn't know your boundaries.
It's true.
You'd go right for it. And then,
which one was the whore? Which one was
Mary Magdalene.
Yeah. No.
They all were, but
okay. So Jesus' mom was also named Mary.
Okay, yeah. So I'm thinking Mary Magdalene.
And
Mary
here's
Magdalene.
the thing. Scientifically speaking, she might also have been a whore because Immaculate Conception is really just this lady saying it happened and the husband being like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
She's a holy whore. Yeah, so Cole would try to hook up with her.
That's a band name. Yeah, for sure.
Someone would try to pull you aside, like not Peter, because Peter would be with it because he didn't. Did Peter betray Jesus?
No, Judas.
At this point. Judas did. Peter said that he didn't know Jesus or something like that 3 times or something. Whatever. So if Terry was an apostle, he would have his camera with him. He'd be following
we would have documented that whole thing.
Instead of the Bible, it would have been a documentary.
Yeah, I got to talk to Jesus. Turns out his last name's not Christ. It's Hung. It's Jesus Hung. He's been Chinese this whole time.
William Hung.
No idea where Christ is coming from. That's a Family Guy bit. I apologize. I stole it.
Oh, is it?
Well, it's a Family Guy bit where like Stewie goes to heaven and he meets Jesus. He's like, yeah, Jesus Hung. Jesus is Chinese. Never knew. But there's another one where there's like the adventures of Fat Jesus, which is really funny. Look it up. And he's like, ugh. They're like, oh, the Messiah, please cure this man. He's dying. And he's like, he's just like this giant fat guy. And he's like, I'll tell him what I'll save him from. I'll give him some advice. Save him from an epic powerhouse round of diarrhea by not going and getting chicken wings and finishing it off with some flaming Dr. Peppers. That is what he needs. I can't do it justice, but religion.
Yeah, so you would document it.
Yeah.
And then, what would I do?
I think you would wander off because they walked a lot, and I think you would have your own adventures and just come back every once in a while with like new stories to tell. Like we're all walking around in sandals and you show up with like some Jordans that you just like found. Like, hey guys, what's up?
Look at these.
Everyone has their own story and they say it and I go, yeah, that's great. Anyway, I'm going to talk about myself. I never do that. I don't know what you guys are talking about.
I thought I was the main character of this Bible. You'd come out with Luke's Bible.
There was a lot of Luke in the Bible, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was me.
Yeah.
That was me. But really, they didn't really want me around because I was just trying to find who my daddy was, who the best candidate to be my daddy was. Um, and I thought it was Jesus. I went for it, and they're like, "Dude, you gotta fucking back off. Get away. Jesus is weirded out." Yeah.
Jesus is not your dad.
Jesus will not watch a Knicks game with you. He will not teach you how to tie a tie.
So and
I
if
want to
Zach,
watch the next game
Zach
with
was an
you.
apostle. Zach would go for the Mother Mary. He would just go straight to the top.
Is Zach one of those guys? I didn't know that.
I wouldn't put it
he's
past
a MILF
him.
hunter.
She'll say no a bunch of times, and he'll be like, "No, but I know that what she really wants. She wants that." Like he did in that one episode. She wants that. She wants it. She really.
Yeah.
I got a pitch. Zach signs up for Christian Mingle.
What's that called? Was it fish? Plenty of fish? Is that the?
No, it's called
the
Christian Mingle.
No, it's called Christian Mingle. That's the name
Oh,
of it.
really?
Yeah. So it's like there's J-Date for Jewish people, and then there's Christian Mingle for like, I'm married to the man upstairs. He should do that. Actually, I mean, I'm 100% being serious. He should do that because he's got like a little religious background too, and I think
he does actually. Yeah, he should do that.
Yeah, I was gonna say when we were all saying things that we were thankful for before Thanksgiving, he said my relationship with God, and I almost laughed. I thought he was joking.
No, I don't.
I did laugh.
Shit.
He does sometimes when when I'm feeling down and I'm talking to him, he talks to me about God. And I'm like,
I didn't know that.
I'm not into it, but I'm like, okay.
He doesn't seem like the type.
I think it came about when he went to California. I think there was like an escape from New York, which is a great movie. But I think he kind of changed his personality too for the better when he went to the West Coast. I think he was trying to get away from some stuff here. I mean, I think that's probably true for everybody. When I went to Philly, I was definitely ready to be a different person, I suppose, and kind of move forward and move on to new challenges and things like that.
Create the person you want to be, and you want people to perceive you as.
Yep, that's why I'm starting with the man in the mirror. I didn't know that that's what that song was about. If you want to make a change, or if you want to make the world a better place, you got to look at yourself and make a change.
And make that change. Na, 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 na.
He was a good singer.
I mean,
I'm glad that he lived a normal life and nothing ever weird happened with Micheal Jackson.
No, he definitely did nothing weird. Mm-hmm. Jamie and I, we listened to him a lot, and not a lot, but I like his hits, and every time we try to get into like who he is. Like he was so strange, but like cool. He was so cool, and so good, so talented, and I can't ever imagine him ever once in his life having sex. Like, I just don't think he ever did.
Well, he has children.
Are they his? Like, for
That's
like,
a good question.
Did he have?
Is it Lisa Marie Presley? Was that his wife?
Did he have a kid with her?
I will say, and this is actually something I actually feel. It doesn't bother me as much about it bothers me that there's allegations, but it would bother me more if Micheal Jackson wrote his own music, which he did not. He just performed it. Because that's why I feel okay listening to the songs. I actually, and this is not for a reason of justice or anything, but I actually prefer covers of his work rather than his originals. But the nice thing is, they're not his originals. They were originally performed by him. But I'm pretty sure Quincy Jones wrote most of that and produced most of that. I could be wrong, but I know Micheal Jackson was not a writer. He was a performer. So I feel okay. I feel okay. They talk about like separating art from separating art from the artist,
Weird-
or like if the artist does something
weird, like-
bad, can you still enjoy it? And in this case, I can still enjoy it because he didn't write it. He just performed it, right? So someone doing a cover of a Micheal Jackson song can still be a good song, and it doesn't have to feel odd or anything, even though he was accused of all that stuff.
Yeah, because Quincy Jones was definitely a big part. I'm sure there were so many other people involved. It was probably such a huge production, not including Quincy Jones, is probably getting just everyone possible to write these, just because he only had hits for like, there's like a video that was released on Twitter. It was just like from when he was a kid all the way up until like the end of him recording. It was just hits.
Yeah.
And he just chose hits, and they surrounded him with hits. But I also still think he also had a lot to do with like the writing process, or even just like
he absolutely did. I just watched his Thriller documentary. It just came out on like.
Are you sure? I thought he didn't write any of his own songs.
No, he composed it, wrote it. Like there are recordings of him doing like, what we do nowadays. Like I do voice memos on my phone of just like gibberish melodies. And there's a lot of those. He had a home studio at his house where he would do the same thing. He would like beatbox in the background as one track, but he would do like the bass line, and then he would do a bunch of harmonies, and then he would just do gibberish melody, like for Billie Jean, for Beat It. Like you can find them online. You can find them on YouTube of him just, working it out in his head and then bringing it into the, Quincy Jones's studio, and they actually bring the musicians in that fucking play everything, but obviously not every one of his songs.
Yeah. I mean, most of the hits are written by someone else. However, so I'm looking at it right now. His brother wrote Beat It. Jermaine Jackson wrote Beat It.
Wow, good for him.
It says here Micheal Jackson wrote Black or White, and Jermaine Jackson wrote Beat It with Eddie Van Halen.
What?
No, Eddie Van Halen plays the guitar solo.
Yeah, he played the guitar.
No, he's listed as the composer.
Yeah, you can get listed as a writer, as a composer, if you play an instrument, or if you. Trust me, I just watched the documentary, but I mean, I've known this anyway. Micheal, he wrote or co-wrote most of his stuff after Off the Wall, his first solo album. Everything from then on, he was an integral part of the writing process, and he was kind of a perfectionist. And then even when it comes to his music videos, his stage performances, he wasn't the choreographer, but he was very hands-on with the choreography and
Sure, I'll give you the dancing and stuff, but the music itself, a lot of it is like Thriller was written by Rod Temperton. What did the documentary say about that?
Yeah, he's one of the co-writers. But Thriller, the song Thriller, yeah. I don't know if he wrote those lyrics. I don't know about that song.
Well, even if not the lyrics, I know, like the melody and the music, there's no way. You're saying he wrote that on piano?
No, not on piano, but he would do he would sing. He would compose the music in his head and like sing the composition, sing the melodies, and then they would bring musicians in to play it. You know what I'm saying?
He loved the studio. He loved being a part of the studio process and the whole recording. There's so many. I think I saw. He did a song with Paul McCartney, right?
He did too.
And I think he wrote it. Micheal Jackson, like you would think that Paul McCartney actually wrote it, but it was Micheal Jackson, or it could be the other way around. I forget.
Yeah, they did it together. That was on the same album. That was on Thriller. The documentary just came out. You can watch it. But they also did Ebony and Ivory, and I don't know what album that's on. I think it's on a Paul McCartney or Eagles album.
That's a Stevie Wonder song.
Is it Ebony and Ivory?
Yeah, Stevie Wonder.
What's the other? I don't want to talk out of my ass. What's the other? Micheal Jackson and Paul McCartney.
It doesn't matter if you're black or white.
That one he does have solo writing credit on.
Really?
But yeah, it says here. All right, Michael Jackson didn't write any songs before Off the Wall, and on the advice of engineer Bruce Swedian, Quincy Jones hired Temperton to write songs for Jackson's Off the Wall. He penned 3 songs, including the #1 hit "Rock with You." I wanna rock with you. Is it that song? All night.
Yeah.
Fucking
Love
hits,
that song.
man.
For Jackson's next album, Temperton wrote 3 more songs, including Thriller. Quincy Jones wrote Don't Stop Till You Get Enough. Yeah, so it's all over the place.
So many hits.
I mean, it's like who is he? Beyonce?
I know what
He's the
you're saying.
Beyonce of the 80s and 90s. We're not
Rihanna.
writing every piece of music,
Jackson.
but performing at the peak level.
Man,
He's
the pinnacle.
Yeah,
Of what?
like
Of
Cole said, he was a
performing?
perfectionist.
Yeah, performing with the Thriller album, he was mad when Off the Wall came out. He only won like 1 Grammy, and he only had like 3 hits on it. So when he was working on Thriller, he's like, I want every fucking song on this album to be a hit, to be like a top 10 Billboard chart topping song. And the only one that wasn't a hit, I want to say, was The Lady in My Life or Human Nature, one of those songs. And there's 2 fucking amazing songs. But if you just look at and you list off every song from the Thriller album, it's like banger after banger, hit after hit. So he put all this attention into it, and like really was like every person that they brought in to work on the whole project as a whole, when it comes to the music, and then it comes to the music videos, and then
Everything, ideas, everything.
I got a picture of Rod Temperton. He's just some white guy. Looks like every white guy I've ever seen. Everybody's grandpa.
What else did he write? Anything else that wasn't Michael Jackson? Any hits?
Oh, it's a good question. Let's take a look. Heat Wave.
Yeah,
he was in a band called Heat Wave.
I might have missed you saying it, Cole, because I was not listening to you. Did you say that he recorded like 200 songs?
I didn't
for that album.
It says that
isn't that true?
It says he penned 150 songs. Michael Jackson did, and that 20 became mega hits.
Yeah, I remember hearing that like at purchase at school from like teachers saying like Michael Jackson recorded like 200 songs just for Thriller. I think it was Thriller. And how many songs were on it, Cole? Like 10, you said?
I think it's like 11. I want to say 10 or 11. And 90% every song except one became a Billboard top 10 hit. I'm just not sure which one. It's between The Lady in My Life or Human Nature.
Yeah, we just weren't there. We weren't there.
No,
like, we can
missed it.
talk about them. We can look back at them, but if you probably were there.
I remember 90s Michael.
Yeah,
I remember 90s Michael. I remember Black or White. I remember
Free Willy. Free Willy.
Yep.
Free Willy.
Hold me. For the day of my dead, 'cause you were my friend. Shamona, hold me,
he had a bit of a different voice then. He had a little more of a.
I like that version.
It was a good voice. That was his Shamona era.
Shamona.
Yeah.
Shamona.
I also like.
That's pretty good, Cole.
It might have been the last era of him.
That's a practice.
The one where he goes, the way you talk, the way you walk, I cannot explain.
That's the one. Yeah, Jay-Z does the remix of that. It's shit.
Is that the R. Kelly one? Too. I know he teamed up with R. Kelly on something.
No, it was the producers that did all of R. Kelly's stuff though. That did that one.
No, I think we looked it up. Jamie and I looked that up, and I was like, it's definitely that producer.
I'll be there.
What were they called? The Hitmakers or something? No, the
Hitmakers. Yeah.
Who were
was
the
it the
Hitmakers?
Hitmakers? Let me find it. You rock my world. That's what it's called.
You rock my world, you know you did.
What was his last song? The last song Michael rehearsed was Earth Song. Prepping for the This Is It tour. Wow. He sang for the last time on June 24th, 2009.
Huh.
Yeah, he was going to make a comeback tour.
Yeah, they have a video of the rehearsal too. I remember he
documentary.
He had some weird Halloween. It wasn't Thriller, but he like years later, I think it was like in the 2000s, he had this thing where like they opened a door and his face was behind the door. It was like a haunted house. Do you guys remember that? It was some weird comeback. Haunted house. Ghosts.
No.
Oh, was it a movie?
I mean, his face was scary enough looking towards the end anyway. Yeah, he had a couple movies.
What? I didn't know that. I just know about what was it? Neo, the space one where he's like a robot at the end.
Yeah, and there were Happy Meal toys that you could get at that time. I'm like, that's my vague memory of that Michael Jackson movie.
Captain EO.
I never saw it. I don't know what it's about.
Oh, Moonwalker. That was also a video. Oh.
He had a video game, and he made the music for all of it.
It was Moonwalker.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's like on Sega Genesis, and it's got like... Because did you know that he wrote the Sonic the Hedgehog 3 soundtrack? But he had...
Oh, shit.
He took his name off of it because he didn't like the way that the Sega sounded. Like it wasn't a good enough music chip, but he wrote it.
Man.
But then in Moonwalker, like the video game, it's like a, they call it chip tune, but it's like an 8-bit version of like, but it's 8-bit. It sounds awesome.
I love that version of music, that genre of music.
Chip tune? I love chip tune.
There's some great stuff on like Tim Hoover sent me the other day. You know, on one of the Marios where you like go underwater.
Yep.
And you go in one of the tubes and you go underwater, and there's a different kind of music that plays.
Yeah, it's
just
I don't know, Terry. You might be wrong. I don't think you know anything about Mario.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn, dude. I was like, I gotta make a beat out of this. But like, as I was thinking about it, I was like, somebody has definitely done this already.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, somebody huge has done like World 2, like where you go underground and it's
Yeah. World 2.
You know what's funny? I can't remember lyrics from tons of songs, but I know every single musical note to any like video game song. Like I can get there in a heartbeat and memorize the whole song to the point where like I tried really, really hard to learn piano last year. And I bought a whole keyboard and stuff, and I got to get back into it. But the thing, my memory is the thing that keeps killing me in trying to learn. But I should just go back and start playing and try and just do video game melodies because I know those like the back of my hand.
Do you know this one? Oh,
Halo.
Oh,
oh. Have you ever seen the guys like singing that song in the bathroom?
Yes.
Oh, it's the best. It's a bunch of like it's like a shot of a video and the person's walking down like a high school bathroom, and he walks into the men's room and there's no joke 50 to 100 boys in there singing that song together. It is awesome. It's just a bunch of bros, a bunch of nerds, and they're like, oh, it sounds so cool. And like the acoustics are really good. But I am such a fan of like content for the bros. That's just like the Just Dudes stuff. that it makes me
Yeah, me
laugh
too.
harder than anything
Dudes
else.
rock. The dudes rock content.
Yeah. Yeah, or just like,
Anything
have
where
you
it's
seen
like-
that meme of the lady who's like, I know a sound that all men love, and she's like walking on high heels, and it immediately cuts this other guy and goes, nope, it's the Halo soundtrack. And everyone just play different things. And he's right. I care way more about silly things with the boys than I do about girlfriends and things like that.
I'm trying to think of what are some other iconic, like I know
That's the Sonic theme.
shit.
Or
Have you seen the
didn't know.
Sonic movies with Jim Carrey?
I didn't. I chose not to, but maybe I should.
Oh, was that?
I saw the
Was that-
first one when it came out. I don't know. I don't remember if I saw it in theaters. I hope I didn't see it in the movie theaters. I really hope. But there's a lot of movies that I've gone to just when I'm like, well, yeah, I just love the movie so much. So I'm always like, let me give it a shot.
Yeah.
And I'm always, not always, but 20% of the time I'm pretty fucking disappointed and I'm close to walking out. I've only walked out of 2 movies in my whole life.
What were they?
But what were they?
Yeah,
Well, the last one was I don't remember the name of it. I went with my girlfriend. It was supposed to be. It was the actress that's on the billboards, and she's in Fargo. She's the cop in Fargo.
In the original Fargo, she's the cop, Frances McDormand.
Yeah. What's her name? She's in.
I just said it, Frances McDormand.
Okay, Frances McDormand. I'm going on IMDb right now.
She was awesome in this movie called Three Billboards Outside of something, Missouri.
Yeah,
That movie's
that's-
awesome.
so no, I like that. I like that movie.
No, that was like an Oscar winner. That was
I'm
a
trying to
great movie.
find. She plays a homeless person,
Is it the recent one?
or she. It's 2 years ago, maybe like 3 years ago. Where the fuck is it?
I
Nomad
walked
Land.
out of
Nomad Land.
Didn't she win an Oscar
was
for
like-
Nomad Land?
It was nominated for a bunch of shit. I was like, this is supposed to be good, and I got maybe a half hour into it, and looked at my girlfriend. I was like, this sucks, right? Like, this is not good. You ready to go? She's like, yeah, let's just get the fuck out of here. Walked out. There were like 4 people in the theater.
Really?
And they were like, "Hey, stop!"
Yeah, they see
This is
shit
nominated.
walking out at the same time.
Sit down. You do not
Yeah.
leave the theater. You respect the movies. You respect
No,
the
But it
movies, sir.
sucks. I don't want to watch it.
You have to.
You will watch
paid
it
the
and you'll
ticket.
like it.
You will have
I
a
know it's
smile
fun.
on your face.
I don't like it. It's boring.
It's not boring.
Dude.
You're boring. Sit there and smile.
But there's no action. I want to see Vin Diesel.
You signed up for Francis, not Vin Diesel.
I'm not gonna watch the movie. I'm just gonna watch you enjoy the movie. Jamie
That's
and I
another
walked
thing
out.
about
of-
going to movies. Inviting somebody to come and see a movie that they don't really know about with you. There's an obligation for them to like it, or for you want them to like it, or else you feel bad. You know,
Holy.
and
Where
you're
you-
putting
you
so
feel
much
like-
pressure on the movie.
Yeah, you feel like you can't enjoy the movie as much as if you just went by yourself. Like, I go to movies by myself a lot.
That's how I always liked
And I-
going to movies. I haven't been to a movie theater in a long time. I've fallen out of love with the movie going experience,
Oh, I
which is
love it.
crazy because like it was everything to me for so long. I remember like sitting in my bed cheering for Martin Scorsese by myself in my room when he won for The Departed, like the Oscar and whatnot. I loved movies, everything about movies, and I just kind of fell out of it. Dude, Frances McDormand won 3 Oscars for Fargo, 3 Billboards, and for Nomad Land. So you walked out of an Oscar-worthy performance. Wow.
Try to watch it. That's all I'll say. Just try. Try to get through a half hour.
Oh, Chloe Zhao. Oh, okay. That's where she came from.
The other 2, I get that. Fargo, 3 Billboards. 3 Billboards was fucking great. I would watch it again if I could. I don't know where it is, but I'll have to look it up. I would definitely watch it again.
Oh, I mean, Chloe Zhao is also the woman that after that Yeah. So Chloe Zhao, after that movie Nomad Land, Marvel grabbed her and tried to have her do the Eternals, which is like when everything is easily one of the worst movies of that. And it's just so like weird and odd. Nobody saw it. It's when everybody turned.
Yeah, it's actually not that bad.
I'm sure it's a movie.
Bad. The Eternals?
Oh, I didn't like it at all. It was very boring. But I mean,
it's a bunch of new characters that, I mean, unless you've like read the comics, like you don't know who any of these people are.
Yeah, I'm sure
it's a ton of new introductions. No, I mean, so it's really
honestly,
hard.
The only one anyone would know would be Icarus. Icarus is the only Eternal that people would like know of that read comics. Like that was just such a weird. I mean, they tried to do a Guardians of the Galaxy again because nobody read Guardians of the Galaxy or knew what that was. But that was James Gunn in the director's seat. You're gonna get something great.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that was done so well.
I don't know if I've talked about this, but did you know that he's doing the next Superman movie?
Yeah, he's the co-CEO of DC, the DCEU or DC. No, they're changing DCU it to DCU. Now. Yeah.
He's starting it, but he I was thinking of this the other day. Like it's very, very interesting that, you know, comic book movies are in the toilet right now. They're not making money and they're not really doing very well. And the only thing that can save comic book movies really is
Superman.
Like the original comic book character.
You think he's going to break the fourth wall?
Like it's all on his shoulders. He's the only one who can show that people love movies again.
Yo, comic Terry, how meta would that be though if James Gunn had Superman break the fourth wall and like the Barbie movie kind of, you know, and Superman, you know, somehow he gets like meta like that in the movie, and it's like the film industry, it's like we're relying on you, Superman.
It is. I'm telling you. I mean that like if Superman doesn't work, if Superman doesn't work, it's over. Nothing works if Superman doesn't work, and it's just like it makes like you couldn't write this of like that the MCU would go in the toilet, that DC would put out a bunch of shitty things, and then the first thing out of the gate to basically say we can still do this is Superman, a brand new Superman. We've never really seen the actor do anything. It's crazy. It's nuts. I'm really excited.
Why do you think it's gone downhill? Zach, Terry?
I have a couple of reasons, but I think the biggest reason is it went mainstream. And so now it's not beloved people who love these characters creating this stuff anymore. It's just that it's the cool thing to be on and to create. So I don't think there's a love of the actual source material that existed earlier on. You know, that first run of 20 movies, they had a plan, and all of those plans we had seen before in a comic book. And then they started going off book and trying to put messages and stuff, and people just are tired of social messages. I watched this amazing video about the Lord of the Rings movie, because it was 20 years ago that Return of the King came out. And basically they show Peter Jackson, the director, saying, we did not want to put any of our own messages into this because we wanted to just create the thing that Tolkien had in mind. So we squashed any of our messages or any of our emotional feelings and just wanted to tell the greatest story any of us had ever read in the way it was. And I think if they got back to that, then you would have that. But the only way to get back to that is to make it less popular and to have less cooks in the kitchen and get back to, you know, here's a vision of what we're doing. And I'm doing it because I love the story. I'm not trying to make you think or believe anything. And you know, Disney is very guilty of that. And, you know, the internet is aware. You know, people are aware that they're just like, I just want to go see that. I just want to see like good guy runs into some struggles and overcomes bad guy. You know, just give me that in the coolest and most unique way possible. And I think we're working our way back.
What do you think was the... Go ahead. Go.
So to say to go back on what you said, I want to see good guy runs into some struggles and has to deal with it. Like I saw a lot of people's criticisms of a lot of these Marvel films is like, you know, it's like too otherworldly, like too like out of this world, like where Spider-Man for Marvel was like it was the biggest thing, the most relatable superhero. And the Marvel, the MCU version of Spider-Man is he's now like Iron Man, or he's like going to space and he's fighting Thanos. And like, the Sam Raimi versions that we grew up watching, the movie version of Spider-Man that we grew up watching was, one little criticism that I've seen people talk about, that I've seen fans talk about, is like Sam Raimi's versions, when there was trouble happening, there was a conflict like in New York City, you could see actual civilians reacting the way that civilians would actually react if this battle was happening, if this, not a battle, but a fight was happening, and a building was starting to break apart, fall down. People were running away and screaming and helping each other, grabbing. Like you never see that in the Avengers movies or anything like that.
No, yeah,
and
you're
that's
right.
Just like one little thing.
You're right. I never thought of that. But I do know that actually there's this guy that you went to high school with. His name is Patrick Williams. He went to Saratoga High School. He grew up he went to Dorothy Nolan. He went to our elementary school too. Yeah, his YouTube channel is one of my favorite channels out there. And he does an amazing video about the background characters in the Spider-Man movies and how like you don't see this anymore, to like echo your point. But I mean, that dude, I love that creator. He is, and if you ever want to see him, like he does like a 2-hour documentary about what killed cinema. And it's incredible. He goes through like all of this stuff. A lot of what I'm saying right now is like parroted off of that video. And like Disney. The Marvelization of the world, happened. And this is a direct result of it's going to get watered down. And like now we've lost just like cool movies because one, everyone wants to create a cinematic universe as the goal instead of just making one great film. I will say
And now look at where they're fucked because of Thanos, or because of Kang. Yeah. With Jonathan Majors, they just dropped him. They just fired him. What are they going to do?
I have an idea. So there is a number that has been thrown out to Robert Downey Jr. to kind of like reboot, like to come back and reboot, and I
play Kang.
No, that would be what's his name for Tropic Thunder?
Yeah,
that would be awesome. No, I think they're gonna, and I think they should. I think they're gonna reboot. I think you go to everything after Thanos. There is a way to just kind of wipe it out and have a different universe, like. So in comic books themselves, there was the main Marvel universe all the way up until the year 2000. So that's from like 1960 to 2000, 40 years, right?
There was 919 and 616 or something that.
And then in 2000, they created the Ultimate Universe. And I love the Ultimate Universe. It's just amazing comics. But all they did was restart it for a new generation. So I'm sure they should just wipe it. They should just say, all right, everything after Thanos doesn't count, That's like an Elseworlds, or whatever. And like, so here's the new
universes, like a new universe.
Yeah.
I mean,
they already opened the multiverse. They've already done that. They did Doctor Strange.
You can easily do that. They already did time travel with Loki. Yeah. Like
they really screwed themselves. I mean, they screwed themselves when they went all in on wokeness and stuff instead of. Okay, we're getting some backlash, right? That we have a lot of, that all our characters are white guys. Cool. Instantly, right then and there, and they tried. Here's the big thing, though, too, is Black Panther was supposed to be the new head of the Avengers, right? So when he died, and nobody talks about this enough, but when he died, it fucked all of their future plans because he was the new face of Marvel. That was the point.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All the white guys go away, and it's black led, but by one of the characters we like. It's T'Challa, who is someone we like, and then Sam Wilson isn't leading it as like Black Captain America. He's a secondary. We already bought into Black Panther being number one, And I think that really screwed stuff up, because the other thing that could have immediately, when he died, the immediate next thing should have been live action Miles Morales, like right away, because we love that character. So
With
they made some
Glover?
weird choices, and they desperately wanted to go female led. It's 14-year-old boys is where all this stuff starts, And I think they just got too big for their britches and went messaging and quote unquote social responsibility over making a good movie. Because you could do both. Just do both. There's talented people who could do both.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't have to go so hard in one direction.
Well, I mean, Stan Lee, if you look back in his comics, like there were messages, Yeah,
the X-Men is literally about like racism and stuff like that. They're mutants and humankind hates them. That is absolutely an allegory for that. Yeah.
And there was stuff with obviously Captain America. Although I don't know if that was one of Stan Lee's characters.
No, that was Jack Kirby.
Jack Kirby. But Marvel, there was, but the messages were like everyone can get down with these messages.
Yeah, they were also subtle.
Yeah.
The overt message was, oh my God, the Red Skull is destroying something and Captain America is going to go stop him because, justice is, because you got to stand up for what's right. There's the overt message. Underneath, that's actually a World War II message, right? So I was always in school, like, when they teach you about film and they teach you about directing, I always glommed onto the fact that directing is supposed to be invisible. So you are supposed to be so good that your subtle messages that you put in there, people take those away without being beat over the head with them. You never want to see the director saying, this is my opinion and I want you to feel this way. And if you don't, you're a jerk. Instead, they would set that up through story and character. And if you're really looking, you can see, oh, I can see this is an allegory for that, instead of coming out and saying it. Subtlety, I think, is a more difficult art form than anything, to put subtlety into your work.
Absolutely. Nuance is what I always call it when I'm talking about my music. Like there's so many rappers or just not rappers. I mean, I will say rappers, because rappers, it's harder to put nuance into your rap lyrics because you're already putting so many words into people's faces, into people's ears. So to add nuance, like the way that Kendrick Lamar does, it's fucking brilliant. And, I remember, I don't know exactly what issue my dad brought up to me, but he was suggesting, Cole, you should write a rap song about something about this. I think it was something. It was about like mental health and the suicide rate was increasing or something like that. And he saw Logic perform that song 1-800 the suicide hotline song, and I was like, look, nothing against Logic, I respect him, but I was like, Dad, like nuance is what I'm all about. Like you could go back and listen to some of my songs and I talk about stuff like that in my shit, but it's in a nuanced way. I don't think that, at least the way that I like to consume art, I don't like it to be like explicitly like, here it is, this is the message and this is what you need to get out of this. It's like, let me,
be the artist.
Let me get something out of it the way that, let me consume the art and feel how I feel. And then I can have a conversation with somebody else that consumed the art with me. And, it can become a communal thing. I think that's my favorite art, whether it's movies, whether it's music, whether it's actually, going to an art gallery and looking at the art. You know what I mean? Like it's all about, having it be like a communal thing and having a conversation, and then, breaking down the nuance. You never want it to be like, it's because if you want to go and watch a debate, then you can go and watch a debate. If you want to go to a rally, you can go to a rally. But if you're going to consume art, let's just fucking keep it at that. Let's make it art.
being able to get away with being subtle through in your message through like metaphors and analogies, kind of like Terry, what you said, it's a more difficult art. It's more difficult to do that. But yeah, like, you know, especially in like rap, hip hop, like double entendres, it just, I don't know. It's, yeah, I prefer that. I mean, I prefer, I used to write songs like War is Bad. That was one of the songs that I wrote. It's called War. I wrote another song called I Like Having Sex with Women. And it was just straight in your face. And then I was like, you know what? I need to be more subtle and be like, I like hanging around women and being with them at the end of the night. And if I couldn't do it, I would just at the end just be like, and I like to have sex. So that's why I became a producer and just stopped writing music.
I mean,
maybe
but speaking of writing music, I had a pitch, but it was better if Zach was here. So,
well, do you want to save it?
Yeah. So
because this wasn't really pitch heavy. The only pitch was the Bible, and then we got into I really like that discussion about subtlety in art and things like that, because I've thought that for years of just like, you need to be good enough that your art is worthy of interpretation and justifies people discussing it. Because if you are so direct and say, this is what it is, this was my intent, and this is what I think it is, then I don't think you did the job. I think should be a little bit of mystery in there, or else because it won't warrant discussion.
What I like about music is that some people will write something completely personal to them, but you can interpret it your own way, and that you can do that with movies. You can do that with any art form. Stare at a painting, and like that. There's some things that would hit me, be like, oh, but I'm just making it about myself. But still, that's what music and art does.
That's the beauty of it. You know, it should be, you know, if for me, at least as an artist, you know, when I need to make something that I'm going to feel. When I go into you know, starting to work on something where I'm literally creating something out of thin air, you know, it completely ruins the artistic integrity if I go into it where either an outside force is telling me, you got to write a song about this, or I'm telling myself, I need you to write a song about this. And as opposed to just be like, I'm going to start creating, and whatever happens and what I feel is what I'm going to make. You know what I mean? And sometimes as you're making it, you can be a little explicit about what you're saying and what you're doing. And people can be like, okay, well, clearly, you know, it has something to do with this topic, but you know, it doesn't always, when you're truly being artistic just for the sake of just creating and you're making what you're feeling, you know, there doesn't always have to be an explicit meaning, you know,
like
what it's
Frank
about.
Ocean, like a Frank Ocean song.
Yeah.
Well, also like, well, what do you mean by, I'm not really familiar with Frank Ocean. What do you mean?
I mean, you don't know what he's talking about.
Yeah, every one of his songs are interpreted in fucking 17,000 different ways.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah, I mean,
who he's talking.
And there's you know, there's people like that go like so extreme that it's so out there that there'll never be an answer to it. And then there's just like subtle discussions, you know, like, you know, my big lyricist and just music icon is Bruce Springsteen. And like, he has a song Thunder Road, and Thunder Road is about hey, come with me in this car and we'll drive out of town. That's literally the whole thing is about, like, you know, if you looked at it straight on what it is, but it's not until like the last lyric where you really understand what it is. It's a town full of losers I'm pulling out of here to win. And it's the idea of you can't get stuck in one area or you will become a loser. Like, escape, find your path to the next part of the world. But if you look at everything, it's like, my car's out back if you're ready to take that long walk. It's all about getting in a car and driving, but all underneath everything are meanings of like, you're going to get stuck with your family. You're going to get stuck here. You're going to get stuck being a loser if you don't leave, if you don't go and have an adventure.
Get in the car. Yeah.
Yeah. You can hide beneath your covers and study your pain, make crosses from your lovers, throw roses in the rain. Again, that doesn't, like, you can literally think about what that is, but it's very clear that's not what he's saying. He's like, you can make a million excuses of why not to leave, but you will never get to the next level of life if you don't. It's a song about freedom and pushing yourself, right?
You made that's the perfect example. I mean, it's like, it's not in your face, but it's not to the point where you have no idea what the hell they're talking about. But it's right in the middle. That's perfect. That's a great example.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really do find it very funny when someone flips it on its head, like South Park, where South Park will just, they have those writers are brilliant. They are my heroes. Trey Parker, Matt Stone, absolute heroes. Musically.
What's the Christian album that they make? Is that the Finger Bang? Or no, that's the kids group that they.
Yeah,
make.
It's I think it's
the
Faith
Christian
Plus
album
One.
that Cartman makes.
Faith Plus One.
Yeah, and it's all just innuendos just for sex.
Oh, that's and he's like, all right, we just take a song and we put Jesus in there. So like, all right, I really want you in my life, baby. So we'll do, I really want you in my life, Jesus. But what I love about them is they're so good at understanding how to write the real way. Like, they're a perfect example of know the rules so you can then break them. Because when they break them, it's very much just like in your face. Like, oh, did you hear the latest song? Fat Mama Backs It Up. I love Fat Mama Backs It Up. Instead of like, anything that has any sort of subtlety, but they earn the right to do it. There's a clever way to do it. And I think most people who are they're saying exactly what they feel are not smart enough to do it in a way with tact where they're making a joke. I think they're just doing it out of foolishness and stupidity.
Yeah. And the unfortunate thing is a lot of people consume that. And the people that are able to do it with innuendo and nuance, unfortunately, unfortunately and fortunately, because then there are like snobs like us who are like, well, we're kind of gatekeepers of like the really good artists. And we sometimes, once a really good artist becomes so mainstream and popular, then we're like, fuck, like what? Yeah, but I knew about them before you did.
Yeah, you don't know. I mean? Like, you don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know that we're doing it.
Why do you really like them?
I don't know that we're doing that out of ego. There are people who do that out of ego. And then there are people who are like, oh man, I am really such a super fan of this thing. And now that we've opened it up to more of the world to make it more accessible, it lost its importance to me because I liked how deep and detailed it was. And exactly I didn't care that it was difficult to get into. It's just that I enjoyed a more advanced conversation about a subject that you can't get to in entry level, if that makes sense, because I definitely think there's a gatekeeper culture for sure. I'm not saying there's not, but I am saying that criticism of gatekeeping, I think, affects the ability to have higher level conversations about things that are not accessible to everyone, to anyone who hasn't been in the game for like 5 years. You know what I mean?
Well, I'm kind of like Cole, and I'm like you, Terry. I'm a little bit of both, but I was on to Kendrick Lamar way before, anyone knew. Cole, I think you introduced me to him, and then I was on to Frank Ocean way before. I was on to SZA way before, and these are people who like went straight to the top, but they weren't before. Really, they weren't really like SZA. People knew about her, but she's now just such a pop star, and Kendrick as well. He had all those mixtapes, but I am a believer that there are like the music that Cole, you said, everyone consume, like the majority of people consume the pop contemporary music. Like that type of music to me is like Marvel for movies. Like I don't know anything about movies, but I'm watching Marvel. So like, if someone who knew about like indie movies looked at me and was like, "Oh, you listen to fucking Marvel or you watch Marvel, you know nothing." So that's kind of how I feel when I look at somebody who's listening to Taylor Swift. But the artists like Kendrick who go straight to the top, that's a perfect example of cream rises to the top. Like if it's really good, it's not pop. It's just
when you if you listen to a Taylor Swift album, it's like the fucking production is fucking amazing. You know what I mean? And you got to respect, she writes her own shit.
Yeah.
You know?
You absolutely
and obviously, you listen to Beyonce, you know, this is like the same thing. You know,
well, she doesn't write her own shit.
The production value is insane. That's like the marvel of the music industry right now.
So
you know?
the only thing I'll say to that is I relate it a lot to like junk food. Junk food is delicious. It tastes good. It's not hard to make, but it is delicious. But it's bad for you if you solely exist off of it. But we all still like it, you know. Whereas I think if you can't also, I think certain songs come out and they're delicious steaks or beautiful lobsters or things, but they're not getting the attention that a McDonald's hamburger is getting because people like that and they're entitled to like that. I like to know that I live in a world where both exist. I like that there is a Taco Bell and a, you know, $1,000 taco place somewhere. You know, I like that I have both because I'm in the mood for both. And one is not better than the other, or one does not warrant the other's destruction. That's a better way to say it.
Well, there's no way either can exist without the existence of the other one. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's true. It's true. And,
So
then you also got to remember that there's certain song. I mean, Bob Dylan's the best example of this. One of the most important musicians of all time, barely could play guitar. 3 chords, you know? So like it was very simple, even though the lyrics were impressed. And honestly, some could argue that the more advanced he got as a songwriter and as a musician, the less people cared. The less people were interested. They wanted those 3-chord songs.
Yeah.
Dylan's
yeah, I mean, simple is sometimes better.
Well, like listen to this by Micheal Jackson. It's close to midnight, and something evil's lurking in the dark. Under the moonlight, you see a sight that almost stops your heart. You try to scream, but terror takes the sound before you make it. You start to freeze as horror looks you right between the eyes. You're paralyzed.
Oh, it's paralyzed.
Because this is Thriller night, and no one's going to save you from the beast about to strike. This is literal.
Thriller night or Thrill the Night? Because I always thought it was Thrill the Night.
This is Thriller night, and no one's going to save you from the beast about to strike. You know, it's Thriller night. You're fighting for your life inside a killer. Thriller tonight. Yeah. So that is one of the most beloved songs of all time. And it's literally, there is no subtlety here. This is, we're in a thriller movie. Here's what happens in a thriller movie. Thriller movie.
Yeah. Thriller.
Written by Bob Dylan.
Yep. It's after midnight.
Bob Dylan wrote that?
Midnight.
Demons closing in on every side.
Because this is Thriller.
This is dark,
Thriller
man. They're out to get you. There's demons closing in on every side. They will possess you unless you change that number on your dial. So if you don't change your phone number, you're going to get possessed. Fuck.
What up?
Wow.
Keep reading.
That's
sure.
Was it
this is
Verizon
Thriller
that told them to write that lyric? Or was Verizon wasn't even around then? Who was it?
Yeah, it was Spectrum.
Bell?
Spectrum Cable. I have no idea what was going on.
Thriller was that homie.
Temperton, you said, or something?
Temperton, yeah. Who wrote Thriller? Now,
Roger Templeton.
Also, this wasn't that hard to write. Lyrically speaking, I feel like we could do this.
See, but that's the thing. It didn't come from the lyrics. It was the music first, and then it was like what syllables work to this, you know,
Yeah, Rod Temperton.
At this beat per minute, and then within these bars, how many syllables work to this, to whatever rhythm they came up with, you know.
If The Weeknd did that song today, would it be a huge, massive hit?
No.
Yeah.
Same song.
No.
Well,
Same exact.
actually, no.
Because
Here's
The
the
Weeknd
thing.
doesn't have the reach of Michael Jackson.
He does.
That was like a show tune song.
But-
It was such like a straight out
here's
of
the
a
thing.
movie.
No,
The music video.
Well, go ahead.
The song was out. The album was out for a while, and then Michael released that music video, or it was like a short film. And then after that, actually no. So then I'll take it even further. MTV wasn't playing any black music artists' videos, and
that's true.
Yeah. So I think that was the first video of a black artist that was ever played on MTV. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, it says right here.
Because
Thriller is known for having arguably the most significant music video in pop culture, period. Full stop.
Oh, yeah.
Because of the dance moves and because of what Cole just said.
And it was so different. It really, like, it was just, I would believe it was so different. There's like, nobody expected that.
Wow. So Temperton wrote the song for his previous band, and his previous band said they didn't want to do it. They turned it down, and then it went to Michael Jackson. Wow.
I wonder if those guys are still alive, if we could try to like somehow.
I mean, like, would you,
That's them.
if
Certified
someone
diamond.
brought that to you, would you also turn it down? I feel like I would be like,
yeah, I would.
I don't know.
I would.
Yeah.
I would absolutely
it's
turn
Michael
it down.
Jackson. Unless you're Michael Jackson, like, and to have that vision to be like, yeah, and I'm gonna make a fucking music video. I'm gonna make a short film.
Well,
And,
I will
Yeah.
say, so you were just saying though that if The Weeknd came out with this song that it would be a hit. I would argue it wouldn't because
I take
Michael
it back.
Jackson.
I take it back.
Yeah, Michael
think it
Jackson
would.
was famous at a time where fame was real. You know?
Yeah, but he wasn't that famous yet until Thriller came out. That's when he went like boom.
Was
He won
Bad
What
before
was
this?
the-
Wasn't Bad out?
Yeah. What was the one where
Yeah,
he did?
Bad
he
just
did the
came out
moonwalk.
maybe a month before that.
Well, regardless, if you had a hit in the 70s and the early 80s, it was on those 3 channels that we had, and all of your news sources pointed to it. That's the difference today, I think, is you can't actually be as famous. You can't do it.
No, you can't.
No one will
no
ever
one can
be
be as
more
famous as Michael
famous.
Jackson ever again.
Yeah,
no
no
one
one will
can
ever be
ever
more
be-
famous than the guy from the Honeymooners, because that every single person in the world like watched that show. You know, like I Love Lucy. No one will ever be as famous as Lucille Ball was.
And you know
It's not
why? It's
possible.
because of people like us have a podcast, and we get 50 people that are going to watch. You know, but there's
We got 100 subscribers.
5,000 other people within a fucking 5,000 mile radius.
Do you know who actually is the most famous person? Like one of the most famous people now. It's Mr.
Drake?
Beast. Mr. Beast, the YouTuber.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I could see
He
that.
gets more views. He gets 5 times as many views as the Super Bowl when he drops the video. Think of that.
That's fucking.
And people watch the whole thing. 285 to 300 million viewers per video that the guy puts out. He's going to hit 1 billion he's going to hit 1 billion views.
Yeah.
Think about that.
He's a multi-millionaire. He has a burger company too.
Yeah, I
fucking-
think he's getting rid of that one and going, well, no, Feastables. I think he's going all in on his chocolate company. But you know what my favorite part about that is? He's just a kid from North Carolina. He has no
Yeah,
influence.
Seems like a nice guy.
He's I mean, all of his videos were him like giving money to people for free or doing kindnesses. I love that. It's like the thing that is what gives me faith in the younger generation, because he is around because the younger generation is watching, and that means there's millions of kids and millions of young adults watching someone do kindness in the world and enjoy that more than watching someone shit all over the world. Like, that's the hope for the future. It's done. They've proved it. they just showed by themselves, no one forced you to watch a YouTube video, that we enjoy watching some kid do nice things for people. That makes me feel so good.
That's a good look.
Yeah, they prefer to watch that. Well, maybe we should do that. Just call different people on this pod. That's my pitch. And we just say, hey, we're going to give you some money. But
we don't
I'll turn off my camera and my microphone, and you guys can call me and then send me money. And the money will just keep cycling. And then I'll call Terry, but it'll be a different name. And we'll just keep sending him $1,000. That's all I have right now. Sorry, guys.
Hey, guys, before we sign off, do you guys have your phones or a computer near you?
Yeah.
Can you guys go on the new website, YUNKJunk.com, YUNKJUNK.com, and just tell me what you think?
So
Luke, you're going on the phone. I'll go on the computer. So you can give the phone website review.
Pornhub?
And I'll give the computer.
Young Jizz?
Yeah, be careful. YUNKJunk. Do not type in YUNKJunk. YUNKJunk.com.
Hung dudes? Wait,
where'd you get a D? Hung dude.
Young Junk.
Don't do it. YUNKJunk. Burn that computer if you do.
Why are they on it?
Because I did their podcast.
Did you?
Yeah, there's an episode with his name's like Alejandro Villanueva. I directed that one here in Philly. They were awesome. I met them. They were super nice. And Travis at the end asked me, showed me this thing on his phone. He was like, hey, is this a good place to get food? And I was like, actually, no, you should go down the street, this other place. And that bar exploded when he walked in the door. But I thought it was cool. It was like, yeah, I'm going to get something to eat. But yeah, so they're my big pitch is like, not technically, I did it. I directed that episode of New Heights.
Travis Kelce and Jason Kelce.
Shit.
Good for you, man. I don't want to talk about anything else. I want to make sure.
Let's get Taylor Swift on the. We were just talking about her.
Yeah,
I just said
a
really good thing about her.
Yeah, it was awesome, but yeah. And do you see the caption right underneath the picture of the two of them?
This would be an amazing podcast.
But right above that,
sorry.
That's good. Because that's literally what we did at Myrtle Beach. That's what we said that night. Like, that would be an amazing podcast.
That's what it came from.
Damn, dude. Well, don't show him this one because I'm at like 20%. I'm so like sick right now.
Don't show who this.
But if you're talking to Travis and Jason, you're best friends with them now. No, dude, that is amazing. That's amazing that you did that. I'm like so proud. I'm so proud of you for that.
Thanks, man.
That's huge.
I mean, honestly, it was just lucky. It was like because their other studio dropped out, and so these people were looking for a studio. The guys who booked it didn't even know it was the Kelce brothers. So I didn't find out it was them. I just knew I was going to go direct the podcast, and then it was like, holy shit!
Wow.
Yeah, so where does it happen? Do they come to you, or
they went to another studio that I have been affiliated with for years, and that studio called me and said, "Hey, can you get this thing done? It's like an emergency podcast with these two guys. I recognize them, but I don't know who they are." And then I found out who they were, and I was like, "Oh my god!" It was awesome.
Wow.
Yeah, just so happens that the one of the best centers in NFL history has a podcast that's now fucking blown up.
Yeah.
And he's in Philly. And you're right there.
It was awesome, man.
Like, that's beautiful.
Oh, I see some glitches in the website. I'm going to have to fix those. But you guys are in there. If you scroll down, you can see your faces.
I saw it.
I used our thumbnail as the design YouTube thumbnails for Attraction.
Yep. Design your own thumbnail. Episode 9.
Oh, yeah, there it is.
I was thinking since we're not obviously going to do it because I got to go soon, but since we have 12 released podcast episodes, and it's the holidays, I was thinking we tried to come up with like a 12 days of Christmas, but we come up with the 12 What Is This pod on the 12 What Is This pod with Zach Cole, Luke Terry, and then we
Zach Cole,
we try
Luke
to come
Terry.
we try to come up with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and like based on things that we've talked about, based on like topics, and like definitely Zach taking a shit in Carl's Jr. or the fact that I have daddy issues, or I don't know. But yeah,
we'd have to plan that for the next podcast then.
Yeah, I mean,
we'd have to.
I can go on Thursday. I got to work on Thursday anyway, so I can do a podcast then right after that on the 28th.
Yeah, so maybe we all write 3
on the first day of.
The first one has to be good, and obviously the 5th one has to be good.
On the first. On What Is This podcast with Cole, Luke, Zach Terry.
That's it. Zach Terry.
On What Is This podcast with Cole, Luke, Zach Terry.
Zach Terry.
Somebody write that down.
Let's do that. Let's do that.
Yeah. Oh, guys, I got to tell you, I was having a kind of a tough day, and I'm really happy that I got to talk to you guys. It always makes me feel great reconnecting with some of my oldest friends.
I'm not going to lie. I wasn't having the best day either. And I was looking forward to this.
Me neither. I feel like goddamn shit. And I almost called off too, but I was like, no, you know what? I'm just going to power through. And I in the beginning, I used to like dread doing it because I was so nervous, but now I can't wait. I look forward to it. The fact that you were okay with doing bits, like now there's going to be a bit on every single one. We didn't do it today. I just don't have it in me today.
No, we had a bit. Pete got us.
Oh yeah.
That was just
got reverse Peted.
Yeah. Pete came through. But yeah, I was thinking like, I don't want to, break the fourth wall, but as long as if you don't have an idea, you can always do a character. And
I've got a couple notes. I texted Luke the other day. It's funny. It's ironic that we were talking about Micheal Jackson so much because I have a character that down the line I'll bring up.
Yeah.
It's associated. It's not Micheal Jackson, but it's associated in Micheal Jackson's world. And then I've got,
it's a good idea.
Look, I have a whole like notes page where I just, anytime I come up with a fucking idea, I just jot down my notes. So I've got a few different bits that we could do. We just got to get all 4 of us together.
I'm going to try and get like, I'll put together like a 1 minute, like a 1 minute stand up or something for each of these, and we can critique it and see if it works and like practice it and whatnot. I mean, it's fun. I like the structure approach, but I also like the looser approach. So we just got to find that sweet spot because it makes me feel good when we do these kinds of conversations, and I think it made me feel really good today. So we can all sign off with some sort of Micheal Jackson impression. Ho!
I'll go first. Ashimona Chipidota.
Come on, kiss me. Come on, give me a kiss. I don't care. I love you. Just give me a kiss. But I love you.
Cha 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 cha. Woo! Bye, you guys.
I'm gonna close it with my my feet.
Hey.
This has been cut.
Good night, everybody.
YUNKJunk!